The Kansas City Chiefs back again, another AFC championship under the belt of Patrick Mahomes, another Super Bowl appearance for Andy Reid and company. This team is awesome. We are truly witnessing one of the greatest football players ever in his prime. Appreciate the greatness while we have it. Patrick Mahomes, different cat. Congratulations to Chiefs Kingdom and Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. Fantastic season. Some head-scratching decision-making down the stretch. They did not run the ball. Bad throw by Lamar Jackson. Egregious fumble at the end zone by Zay Flowers. Great season, all for naught. It's tough for Ravens flock fans out there, but you know what? I'm sure with that defense and with that quarterback, they'll be in position for another AFC championship run. But we got to talk about the rookies. The 2024 NFL draft class is right around the corner. The Senior Bowl literally starts tomorrow. I'll be down in Mobile less than 24 hours from now, giving y'all updates on the players that are down there. And this mock is going to reflect some of the players that I think are going to be big risers coming out of this week in Mobile. So I'm glad you're here. If you stick around to the end of the video and you find the information actionable and or entertaining, hit that thumbs up button, like, and subscribe for your boy. 2024, 3-round, Superflex, no single quarterback, 3-round, Superflex, tight end premium, rookie mock draft. Let's get it, baby.
Okay, let's get it. Bitch, let's get it. Woo!
Yes. It is a 3-round Superflex tight end premium 2024 rookie mock draft for your fantasy football leagues. We're going to talk about the players at the top of the board. We're going 3 rounds deep. I don't want to play around. Let's get you in and out and have some dialogue about these players. Let's pull up the board right now. And I'm just going to say, listen, I know there's a lot of conversation and talk about somebody other than Caleb Williams at the 101 spot, Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe it's Jaden Daniels. Prospect fatigue is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen, and do not let this epidemic get you, right? Do not fall victim to prospect fatigue when it comes to USC quarterback Caleb Williams. He's the 101. He's the best quarterback in this class. There is no Patrick Mahomes, but there's a lot of people who compare him to Patrick Mahomes light. So Caleb Williams out of USC, probably going to be the new quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and that's a good thing. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, they've got a decent running game. 101 in Superflex formats. Caleb Williams, in my opinion, lock it in. Now we can talk about Marvin Harrison because at the 102 spot, while I can see a world in which you 100% take the damn quarterback here, when you're talking about value and players who are just going to be insulated because of their production, name, value, there may not be a more valuable asset in all of Dynasty than Marvin Harrison Jr., especially when it's talking about the 2024 rookie draft class. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., 101, 102 in most formats. Then you get to the 103 spot. You got 2 more quarterbacks who are projected to be top 5 picks, Jaden Daniels and Drake May. I'm going to roll with Jaden Daniels. This is my quarterback, too, in this class. The ability to run the ball and throw the ball accurately from the pocket, push it downfield, make dynamic plays with his legs. This is something from an efficiency standpoint. Jaden Daniels put up one of the most efficient college seasons in the history of college football. So for me, after Marv, after Caleb Williams in a Superflex format, Jaden Daniels is my 103. At 104, I'm going right back to the quarterback well. And just because I don't have him as quarterback 2 doesn't mean I'm low on North Carolina quarterback Drake May. Size, athleticism, arm strength, can do everything. All 3 of these quarterbacks are going to bring you value with their legs, and all 3 of these quarterbacks can do damage from the pocket, and that's what you want. I know rushing upside is what gets fantasy gamers a hard on, but you still got to be able to throw the damn football from the pocket. All 3 of these quarterbacks can do them. Rank them how you like after Caleb Williams 101, Jaden Daniels or May 1 or 2, however you have it. At the 105 spot, there's going to be some conversation about the wide receivers. In my opinion, there is no wide receiver 2. It's just a wide receiver 1B, and that's Malik Neighbors out of LSU. Coming off of the board at 105, should be a top 10 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, and there may not be another player after Malik Neighbors that's got sort of the value insulation from the name, the community perspective consensus, as Malik Neighbors, whom a lot of people comp to former LSU football star and all-pro in the NFL, Jamar Chase. So those are your top 5 picks: Caleb, Marv, Daniels, May, and Malik Neighbors. After Malik Neighbors, I think people in tight end premium leagues will consider Brock Bowers, who should also be a top 10 pick, and Rome Odunze, who's sort of been getting some hate on the Twitter airspace of whatever reason of late. I have no idea why, because I think he's an incredible prospect, and Rome Odunze is going to come off the board for me at the 106 spot out of Washington. Should be locked in to a top 15 pick. The opportunity should be there. He profiles as a one for me in everything that we do at Destination Devi. Rome Odunze, incredible wide receiver prospect. Just broke him down. Prospect profile is on the channel. You can check that out. And at the 107 spot, I do think that Brock Bowers in tight end premium leagues will come off the board shortly after Malik Neighbors. And that may be before Rome Odunze. It might be right after. But I think this, for how we sit today on January 28th, this is probably going to be the consensus top 7 picks in Dynasty rookie drafts. And then after this, it gets a little wild. It gets a little crazy. Let's talk about the 108. We are not diving into the running back world just yet, but we will go back to the wide receiver realm. And at the 108 spot right now, Brian Thomas Jr. is my, they don't have the junior on. Let's make sure I got the right Brian Thomas. Yeah, looks like that's it. Brian Thomas right here, wide receiver out of LSU. My wide receiver 4 currently in the 2024 class comes off the board at the 1-8 spot. I don't believe he profiles as a day 1 wide receiver 1 for a team, but you put him in there with the big play upside, the downfield threat, his ability to score touchdowns in the red zone. Believe he's one of the top 3 touchdown scorers in LSU history. 6'4" frame. He's got speed to burn. I think he'd make an excellent complement to a 1 at the next level from day 1. Brian Thomas Jr., that LSU pedigree behind his name as well, pushing him here to the 108 spot. At 109, got a bunch of receivers: Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, Troy Franklin. But for me, I think the player that we're going to be talking about here at the back of the first round is Texas wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. Some people call him A.D. Mitchell. He likes to go by Adonai Mitchell. Coming off the board at the 109 spot, seeing a lot of mocks with him projected to get first-round capital. That's all he's waiting for. If we get the first-round capital from A.D. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell, I think he's locked and loaded a first-round pick in rookie drafts, followed by X-Worthy, Xavier Worthy, another University of Texas alum. X-Worthy is speed on speed on speed. I know a lot of people are going to reference drops and this and that and drop. Ultimately, his ability to threaten NFL defenses vertically is going to be his calling card. He is going to be one of the reasons why he's a top 50 pick in the NFL draft and why he should be a first-round pick in Dynasty Superflex drafts. And we are talking Superflex, tight end premium, right? Where the hell are the quarterbacks, Ray? Well, I got one for you. And this may be a little bit low, but I think McCarthy, J.J. McCarthy, is going to get the necessary capital, even if it's a spot where you can't project him starting right away from day 1. I believe McCarthy's going to get the capital that we're going to have to respect, and you're going to have to take him in the first round. And if you're at the back of the first round, you're a team that won or finished second in your league, picking at the 111 spot, it's a nice developmental quarterback to have. I like the talent. I like the tools. I like the upside. J.J. McCarthy at the 111 spot. Now you're chilling at the 112. What do? Is this tight end 2, Jatavian Sanders? Is this RB1? Whomever it is you have, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Braylon Allen, Bucky Irvin. I don't know who your RB1 is. Or do we go back to the wide receiver pool? And I think we do. We are going to dive back in to wide receiver. And here at the 112 spot, got a lot of names, but I do think, at least today, the way he's going to test, I know the analytical profile, the statistics aren't there, but I'm not as bearish on Florida State wide receiver Keon Coleman as some. I get some of the issues that people have with him. Not the most refined route runner right now. Doesn't do a good job of separating today, but his size, his speed, his athleticism, and how he ultimately should test at the NFL Combine keeps him in consideration to be a back-end first-round pick in Dynasty Superflex format. So let's go through round 1. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Malik Neighbors round out the top 5, followed by Rome Odunze, Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas, A.D., Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy at the 110 spot, J.J. McCarthy and Keon Coleman, 111 and 112. So we're at the second round, top of the board, and I do think, even though I'm not a big fan of the player, Bo Nix is probably going to get enough capital to where you're going to have to respect him and you're going to have to take him in Dynasty Superflex rookie drafts. You're just going to have to. He's going to get probably late first, second round type capital. And we've seen these second round quarterbacks get opportunity. And even if you hate the quarterback prospect, remember how everybody felt about Will Levis coming out? You had an opportunity to cash out and at least get a first rounder when he threw 4 touchdown passes versus Atlanta. Now, did you capitalize on that opportunity, or did you stubbornly hold on to Will Levis and now you're kind of stuck with him? That's your call, right? Don't blame the situation, blame yourself. You had the out to get out on Will Levis. You decided to hold, you got greedy, you didn't want to sell, and now you're stuck with Will Levis, and hopefully Callahan can turn him around. But Bo Nix feels like the similar type of prospect for me. So Bo Nix coming off the board at the 201 spot. At 202, there's still incredible wide receiver value on the board. And I'm just going to say, there's a player that I really like out of Georgia that is rising in my personal rankings on my personal board. And if I had already selected Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 102 spot, and I'm looking at the running backs, I'm looking at the quarterbacks that are left, I'm peeking at the tight end, Jatavian Sanders, who I'm thinking about right here, I think this player, Ladd McConkey, out of Georgia, is going to be a massive riser coming out of Mobile. I'm taking him at the top of the second. I think he is a type of player who can be inserted into an NFL offense from day one as a complimentary wide receiver 3, get some opportunity there. And if he lands in a perfect situation where they utilize 11 personnel and they are running 3 wide receivers on the field, he reminds me of Robert Woods. That's the comp I have for Ladd McConkey, a cross between Randall Cobb and Robert Woods. I want that player. He's got good size. He's kind of thin, but at 6 foot, 185 pounds, should test very well. Really, really like Ladd McConkey, rising a ton on my boards. Yes, I like Ladd McConkey more than everybody's favorite wide receiver, Troy Franklin, who's going to come off the board here, right here at the 203 spot out of Oregon. If you think it's crazy, then fine. Take him a spot ahead of Ladd. I don't give a damn. Have your own personal rankings. I think Ladd McConkey is a more complete wide receiver than Troy Franklin. And the production may not have been there, but you know what? He played at Georgia. What wide receiver does anything at Georgia? Because they run everything to the tight ends and they run the damn ball. You got to look past the box score. You got to actually dive into the tape. I think he's a tad bit better than Troy Franklin, but that's no slight on Franklin, who comes off the board here at the 2-3 spot. Tight end premium, and I'm just assuming the tight ends matter. Jatavian Sanders. I do believe that JT Sanders is going to push for first-round draft capital. He comes off the board at the 204 spot. Any other draft class, he is the unquestioned tight end 1. He's a 3-down tight end, excellent in the running game, and he can take over offensive games, catching the ball as a pass catcher. JT Sanders, stud. Texas has a lot of good players right here in the 2024 NFL draft class. So JT Sanders off of the board. Now, what do we do at the 205 spot? Still a bunch of wide receivers, but is it time to dip our toes into the running back well? Potentially. I want to talk about Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks, if everything clears right for him, I don't know what kind of medicals they can put out right now. I don't know how any of that stuff works. But if he gets a good, clean bill of health, everything looks good, he's on schedule, this should have been the RB1 in the 2024 class. Jonathan Brooks, size, speed, receiving profile, young declare. He's going to be a young running back in the NFL. Even if you have to wait a little bit, around this middle of the second round, I think this is where you're going to start to see some running backs come off the board in our rookie draft. So right here, I'm going to take a leap of faith saying that Jonathan Brooks, coming out of the next couple of weeks, is going to get some good medical reports. And then for dynasty drafts, I think a lot of people still believe in the talent of Brooks. We're going to slot him in here at the 205 spot, and then we're going to follow it up with Trey Benson. Trey Benson is a player that I was very high on coming into this college football season, and he sort of underperformed for me. I thought he would be a lot better than what he was, but he's got the speed, he's got the requisite size, he can catch the ball, he can add to an NFL team with his special teams ability, especially in the kick return area. Trey Benson following up Jonathan Brooks. You get 2 running backs off of the board in the second round. All right, let's head back to the wide receiver well. We're not going running back again. Another receiver who, little known, not a lot of people know him, but if you watch the tape and you see any kind of Washington tape and you're watching Rome Odunze, there's another guy on the other side of the field that wears number 2. His name is Jalen Polk. I believe he's got a shot to be a first-round pick. Should be a big riser through the pre-draft process. Jalen Polk, big wide receiver, speed, good after the catch, incredible in contested catch situations. Washington had a trio of guys, McMillan, Jalen Polk, Rome Odunze, who are all talented. I mean, if this plays out and he gets that type of capital, he's going before both of these running backs, no doubt about it. Jalen Polk, very, very dope wide receiver. Make sure you check him out as we move forward through the process. Now we're going back to the wide receiver pool with another Senior Bowl guy that I think is going to make some noise. Size, a lot of comparisons to San Francisco 49ers. Wide receiver, Big Leggett, Xavier Leggett. And I know the production wasn't there early. It took until his senior season. Listen, sometimes it just happens like that. South Carolina's been a dumpster fire for quite some time. But Xavier Leggett, big in one-on-one situations. You can't do anything with him because of his size, of his physicality. Landing spot's going to be critical for him. I don't think you can just line him up from day one and tell him to go get it. He's going to be a complimentary type player, but he's the type of guy and he's got the type of game that if he does well, this is the type of player that fantasy gamers would say, man, he could run the ball and give me some rushing production. He's explosive, run after catch ability. I like his size, physicality. Could be a riser, especially after this week in Mobile. At the 209 spot, I'm looking at my ranks. I'm looking at the quarterbacks. And I'll say I think this is time. Michael Penix Jr. comes off of the board right here. And I know a lot of y'all are probably thinking, oh my God, Penix at the back of the second round. Well, everything that we're hearing from an NFL perspective is he's a mid-second round pick, maybe a third round pick, especially after that performance against Michigan. If that's the case, if he's a mid to late second rounder, you can't take him at the top of the second, middle of the second, back of the second. I think that's an appropriate spot to take a shot on Michael Penix Jr. Now, we're going to leave the quarterback position alone for a little bit. Let's head over to my RB ranks and see who we've got left. And yes, my personal RB1 in this class right now, outside of Jonathan Brooks' health, is Michigan running back Blake Corum, who I'm going to take right here off of the board at the 210 spot. I think he's a pro-ready running back. He reminds me of Ray Rice when he came out of Rutgers. Can do a little bit of everything. Not the most dynamic in the receiving game, but he can catch. He's going to do everything that NFL coaches are looking for on third down, protecting your quarterback, rushing the ball, scored a bunch of touchdowns. He can get in the end zone at goal line situations. He's not ripping off 90-yard touchdown runs, but chunk plays. Blake Corum can make that happen. I would be excited to get this man at the 210 spot in Superflex rookie drafts. We've got some more running backs. Got Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, Marshawn Lloyd. Let's head over to the wide receivers. Talk about the receivers that are left. Got Malachi Corley, Devontae Walker. And I do think that's where we're going to go right here at the 211 spot. I'm going to put Devontae Walker. I'm not extremely high on Walker. I think he's one-dimensional right now. But if he gets that second-round capital, that early day 3 capital, you're going to have to respect it. And wide receivers, everybody's searching for the next Tank Del Puka Nakua. Devontae Walker right here coming off the board at the 211 spot. And we'll round out the second round with another running back. We're going back to the running back pool. And I'm just going to go ahead and get ahead of this because I think this young man is extremely talented. Ray Davis, who will be at the Senior Bowl Mobile. I mean, there's a good chance that we end up taking Ray Davis ahead of some of these other running backs. I think he's a 3-down running back, professional type guy. Reminds me of how a lot of people felt about David Montgomery. He may not be special in any one area, but just a complete do-it-all type running back. I would be very excited to end up with Ray Davis here at the 212 spot. So let's go through the second round where we've got Bo Nix, Ladd McConkey, Troy Franklin, JT Sanders, and Jonathan Brooks coming off the board as the first 5 picks in the second round, followed by Trey Benson, Jalen Polk, Xavier Leggett, Michael Penix, Blake Corum, Devontae Walker, and Ray Davis rounding out round 2. Now we get to round 3. In round 3, round 4, Dynasty rookie drafts, you're looking for upside. You're trying to find a spark. Now, is that upside production on your team? Or is that upside value from an ADP perspective, from a keep trade cut perspective, how your league mates are going to perceive these players? You're trying to find some players and mine some value. So let's go here at the 301 spot. And I am going to go running back here. I think this is an appropriate time to dive back into the running back pool. And I think one of the players coming out of Mobile that's going to be a big riser is Marshawn Lloyd, running back out of USC. Can do it all. Was a highly touted recruit coming out of high school. Injured his knee going into South Carolina. Spent some years just trying to work his way back on the field. Transfers to SC. Has a very productive season this year. Put a lot of good stuff on wax, even though the numbers weren't monstrous. I think Marshawn Lloyd, along with Ray Davis, walk out of this week in Mobile with a stock arrow pointed up. Give me some Marshawn Lloyd here at the 301 spot. I think at this point, I think people would kind of get a little nervous because the running backs are dwindling down. And a player that a lot of people like comes from a school with a lot of pedigree. He's got size. He's very, very young. Braylon Allen. We're going to take Braylon Allen here at the 2-3 spot. Doesn't play as physical as you would like for somebody who's got his size, 6'3", 230 something, 240 pounds. You would like to see him play with a little more physicality. But Braylon Allen is a player that Dynasty gamers like, and Dynasty gamers want to be good, and people want him to be the next Derrick Henry, even though that's the furthest thing from his profile. But here in the third round, you didn't touch running backs in round one. You really didn't touch running backs into the middle of the second round. I think it's okay to take a couple of shots on some guys right here to backfill some of those older running backs that are on your team, like Braylon Allen. At the 3-3 spot, another potential Senior Bowl riser for me is Ja'Cory Brooks. And do they even have him? Come on now. They don't even have him in the system. They don't even have Brooks in the system. They don't have Brooks in the system. Oh, excuse me. I'm thinking Ja'Cory Brooks. Javon Baker. Good Lord. And they don't have Javon Baker. Where is Javon Baker? No Javon Baker. Wow. He is not in the system. Sleeper. Get it together. They got Torrey Horton in here. He's back in school. He's not even in the damn draft. So what we're going to do here is try to find a placeholder for this player. Let's find a placeholder. Where are we going to go? Who's still in? Taj Brooks. Not a running back. We got to go receiver. We're going to go Torrey Horton here. This is a placeholder for Javon Baker, wide receiver from UCF. Once again, placeholder for Javon Baker out of UCF. I think he's going to rise too after the Senior Bowl. He transfers out of Alabama after his first couple of years, low production, and absolutely smashes analytical models. The tape looks great. Go check out Javon Baker. He's got the pedigree from high school, collegiate, the profile. I think he's in for a big week in Mobile. We're going back to the run. So this is not Torrey Horton. He is back at Colorado State. This is not Torrey Horton sleeper. Get Baker in the system. Please get Baker. Here we go at the 3-4 spot. Bucky Irving. Marquise Bucky Irving, a smaller running back, not as big as Braylon Allen or as heavy as Trey Benson, but Bucky Irving feels like just a do-it-all complimentary running back. We did his film breakdown over in DD with the patrons, and we had a really good comp, more juiced-up version of Devin Singletary. I think that is a fantastic comp for Bucky Irving. He's a little bigger than Devin Singletary, more explosive, but I like the way that he runs. When you watch them on tape, they run very similar rushing styles. I think he's a better version of Devin Singletary. I love that comp. And hell, if anything, I'd put Bucky Irving, probably flip-flop him with Marshawn Lloyd and move Bucky Irving up to the top of the third round. Either way, I think that young man, that junior, is going to elevate his stock throughout the process as well. So I'm really disappointed that Sleeper does not have Javon Baker in here, but that's all right. That's all right. We're going to go back to the wide receiver pool, see who we have left, and yeah, I think I'm going to go with another potential Senior Bowl riser. The son of Hall of Famer Jerry Rice, Brendan Rice, out of USC. I know a lot of people are waiting on Malachi Corley. I'm a little nervous about Malachi Corley. We'll get to him before the end of the third round, but Brendan Rice, size, speed profile, the pedigree from Jerry Rice, and he was very good in his own right. Transfers from Colorado, 2 good seasons at USC. Senior Bowl is going to be big for this young man, and I think he capitalizes on his opportunity. At the 3-6 spot, let's go back to the running back pool. And where do you want to go? What do you want to do? You want to go with the pass-catching running back like Will Shipley, or do you want to go with a hammer like Audric Estime from Notre Dame? And this is a player who's just a hammer, right? Reminds me, if I had to give him like a play style comparison, kind of like Ramondre Stevenson coming out of Oklahoma. Big physical bruiser, probably not going to be the team's pass catcher, first and down grinder, but he's big, he's physical, he's got a lot of tread left on the tires. And I think here, again, in the third round, this is where you can start to collect some of those running back stones for your dynasty team. So Estime comes off the board at the 3-6 spot. And I think right after that, you go right back to running back. We load up on him. Give me the pass catcher, Will Shipley out of Clemson. You're going to hear a lot of comparisons to white running backs, right? Because that's what Will Shipley is. But the young man can play. He can run in between the tackles. He can catch the ball in the backfield. Who does he play like? I don't know. But his calling card is definitely right away, early in his career, going to be in the pass-catching role, in the receiving role. Will Shipley here at the 3-7 spot. Now we go to the 3-8, and let's go tight end. Let's go Jaheim Bell out of Florida State. This young man played running back at South Carolina, wide receiver, tight end, kind of does a little bit of everything. Swiss Army knife, very reminiscent. If y'all remember my boy, out of Florida, Trey Burton, a couple of years ago. I'm not going to go all the way to Jordan Reed, but reminds me, got some Trey Burton, more explosive Trey Burton, Jordan Reed to his game from Florida, Jaheim Bell in a tight end premium in the third round. I've got no problem taking a shot on the young man right here. At the 3-9 spot, are there any quarterbacks that I think could be worthy of the pick in superflex formats? Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's a player who's been good, who's got the arm talent and got better every single season of college football, even though he got replaced by Caleb Williams at Oklahoma. I'm talking about Spencer Rattler here at the 3-9 spot. Listen, all these guys at this point, all the receivers, you're talking about complimentary wide receivers that are going to have to earn their role on special teams, et cetera, et cetera. I think right here is a fine shot at the back of the third round to take an upside swing on a quarterback. Give me some Spencer Rattler. At the 3-10 spot, we'll go back to wide receiver and take Malachi Corley, who a lot of people say this is Deebo Samuel. Here's my thing. Malachi Corley did a lot of his damage at or around the line of scrimmage, a lot of screens, a lot of short area targets with him using his physical, his incredible ability to do damage after the catch. But Roll GQ has learned his lesson. Betting on run after the catch only type wide receivers is not a great proposition in fantasy football. I was burned by Rondale Moore, burned by Jalen Reagor. I'm going to learn my lesson. You got to be able to do more than just out-yak NFL defenses. I still want to see some more from Malachi Corley. He's another Senior Bowl guy. Big week incoming for Malachi Corley. We've got 2 picks left in this Superflex mock draft. Got a bunch of receivers left. You got Big Johnny Wilson. If he were declared as a tight end, I'd say he'd be selected right now in Superflex formats. You got Roman Wilson out of Michigan, who I like, but profiles more like a 4th-round rookie pick. Ricky Pearsall, another Senior Bowl guy, kind of feels like a 4th-round pick in rookie drafts right now. I'm going to let y'all know quarterback who I'm very excited to see. I don't know how he's going to look, but he's going to be up there with the Bo Nixes, with the Michael Penix. Let's go to Tulane. Let's go to Louisiana and talk about Michael Pratt. This past season, we had over 60 quarterbacks take snaps in the NFL. Michael Pratt's got an ability to run the ball, and I know he's got the requisite arm strength because I saw what he did against my USC Trojans last year in the bowl game. Michael Pratt, interesting developmental pick here in Superflex formats at the 3-11 spot. We got 1 pick left at the 3-12 spot to round out this mock. There's no other quarterbacks that I think could take. We've got everybody. My top 8 quarterbacks are off of the board. Running backs, you got a couple of guys that are still on the board. Tight ends, you got Cade Stover in the tight end premium league. You got a couple additional wide receivers. I'll take a wide receiver that I think a lot of people are going to like as we go through the process because he brings something different to the table. His ability to work outside in the slot, return punts, return kicks, and run the ball. Let's go to Texas A&M's Ainias Smith. Ainias Smith out of Texas A&M. You would look at him and think, oh, he's just a slot-only guy, but he played outside quite a bit. Dynamic playmaker in space, shifty, quick, kind of plays like Zay Flowers, even though he's not as refined of a wide receiver. But Ainias Smith, his sort of dual threat ability to affect an offense and change the math on a defense as a receiver and as a scat sort of orbit motion, jet sweep type wide receiver, I think Ainias Smith is too going to raise his stock throughout the pre-draft process. So let's go through round 3. We got Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen, and we have Javon Baker, not Torrey Horton. This is Javon Baker, who is not in the sleeper system. Bucky Irvin, Brendan Rice, Audric Estime, Will Shipley, Jaheim Bell, Spencer Rattler, Malachi Corley, Michael Pratt, and Ainias Smith rounding out the 3rd round. Man, a lot of players. This just lets you know that there's still a lot that we need to decipher, figure out, kind of comb through. I feel like the first 6, 7 picks are pretty locked in. And then after that, who the hell knows? Is it BTJ? Is it Worthy? Is it Coleman? Is it Franklin? Is it McConkey? Is it Leggett? All in all, when I look at this, and my big takeaway is, although there is no Bijan and Gibbs, there's going to be incredible opportunities to grab value at the running back position. And I think tight end, I mean, it's scarce. The tight end position this year, you got 1 elite guy in Brock Bowers, an elite-like guy in Jatavian Sanders, and you got a special athlete in Jaheim Bell who should test incredibly, even though he's not profiled and built like a traditional tight end. Wide receivers galore, pick your flavor. You want the run after the catch guy, you want the big body outside guy, you want the shifty slot guy, you want the deep play speed threat. For best ball formats, you got every archetype of wide receiver you could possibly want inside of this 2024 NFL draft class. I appreciate y'all tapping in the station, tapping into the channel. If you enjoyed the mock, let me know below. Comment below. Let me know who I'm too high, too low on, who needs to be picked higher. I know y'all going to say something about Troy Franklin, but damn it, I put in the work. These are my opinions, my feelings, but I want to engage with y'all. Comment below. Check out all the other dope content on the channel, and we're excited to bring you Senior Bowl content starting tomorrow. So I appreciate you being here. Enjoy football on Sunday. This Niners and Lions game going on right now, and we'll see y'all next week, man. I'm out of this thing. Peace.